Hey everybody, gonna make a quick video today on cleaning the air filter with No Toil. Before I start taking my air filter out, I usually just like to get in there with a little rag, sometimes a damp rag, or right now I just have a dry shop rag, and just try to clean it so no dirt or anything falls in when I take off the filter. If I don't have another filter ready to immediately install, I usually set a rag inside here to avoid anything falling inside there. So you're supposed to add a 1/4 cup of the cleaner to warm water. I've always just added a 1/4 cup and mixed it in and used one container to clean my filter in. Today I'm going to do it a little bit different because I feel like when I'm doing it in the one container that I'm still having a little bit of oil left over in the filter. I've seen a lot of people say that they don't even use the full 1/4 cup, that just a couple capfuls of this stuff is enough. I'm going to go ahead and still use a 1/4 cup, but I'm going to spread it out between these two. This no toil stuff is supposed to be environmental friendly, biodegradable, and doesn't really have, much of a smell or anything, so I can use this stuff in my garage while all the doors are closed up and not have an issue. And because it's environmental friendly, biodegradable, you could fill up your sink and do this in your sink and have it go down the drain, or even use it in your washer. And I think one of the reasons that I might be having an issue with some oil still being in my filter after just using it in one container is I'm using the rim grease, and you're supposed to put it on generously. So I put a decent amount of rim grease on this before I put it back on my bike. And I've heard from multiple sources that the rim grease is not actually necessary. When you tighten this down, that it creates a good enough seal that you don't need that extra grease on there. But I have some still, so I'm just going to keep using it until I run out, and then most likely I might not use it anymore. We'll see. All right, so when you're cleaning it in here, you just kind of knead it. You don't want to be twisting hard on it. I've always messed around with turning it inside out at least once. See, yeah, I think the rim grease is my issue because the main part of the filter, I can tell when I squeeze there's not really any grease coming out. But for a while there's still going to be that grease or oil coming out of the rim. Hopefully this second bucket will help me out with that issue. They say if you use the No Toil products, so if you put the No Toil oil on your filter, that you need to use their cleaner to get it out, that it's not going to work if you use water or gas or whatever other solvent. I'm usually pretty bad at using gloves while I do things, but I definitely use gloves while doing this. If you get this oil on your hands, they say to coat your hands with soap and then sprinkle some of their cleaner on your hands, and that should hopefully get it off your hands if you got it on yourself. Yeah, this stuff definitely cleans the filter, but if you end up using that rim grease, it's seems nearly impossible to get all of that stuff out of the rim. I struggle every time, so I don't know. Now you gotta let your filter dry completely out. I have my other one hanging up. This is my stock one that I have ready to be oiled. So we're just gonna use this one to demonstrate. Supposed to shake up this oil well. Now some people dunk their filters in oil. I've always just had this bottle and just pour it over the top of it. And then just kind of knead it in. It does have a little bit of a smell, but it's not super strong. It's just the alcohol smell. Once you're done putting this oil on it, you'll have to let it sit for about 15 minutes and let that evaporate, and then you can install it in the bike. I'm going to go ahead and still put on my rim grease that I've been doing, and I don't know, I don't think I'm much of a fan of it, so if you have any opinions on that, let me know. So you're just supposed to get this well coated with the oil, and if you have like, if it's drenched or really saturated, you want to squeeze the extra out. But I have some that's coming out, but not much. It's about how much I like to have on there. I've always only had this cleaner and this oil. This is like a red oil that No Toil has. I think they also have a green one, and from my understanding, this one's thinner, the other one's thicker, and I think it's because the green one is water-based and this one is that alcohol-based, and this one takes less time to dry before you can install it, and I think it's because that alcohol can evaporate quicker than that water-based in the other one. Alright, I'm going to start putting on the rim grease. It says to apply liberally, but I've been having issues with it completely coming out when I'm cleaning my filters. So this time I'm just going to put a little bit less than normal. If this stuff isn't super necessary, I might stop using it soon. I try not to get globs in the middle here. So yeah, normally I would have put a little bit more than this. I would say what I'm doing now is just a thin coat around the rim, not applying a liberal amount. And honestly, I don't know, I might not even end up using the rest of this stuff. Maybe I'll just apply it when I know I'm going to be doing a ride that is going to be just like super dusty or sandy or something, and I feel like maybe I need to make sure it's extra protected and sealed, but it's probably not that necessary. And every time I use this stuff, I kind of get a little annoyed. I end up making some kind of mess. All right, I got that thin layer on, and I'm going to go ahead and reinstall it into the bike. I think that uni filter I got, the red one that I originally took out in the beginning of this video, seems like a good quality filter, but I definitely like putting this one in better. It comes with this little triangle that sticks out in the foam, and you just line it up to this little triangle at the top. Makes it a lot easier to line up and usually takes me less time. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.